From what I understand, you were exposed to Black consciousness while living in America. Please tell us about the experiences and literature that helped heighten your awareness of self and your African heritage.
It was the first time that I saw Miriam Makeba on TV, and her hair was just cut so short. But I said, what a beautiful black woman. And I wanted to look like that. And, you know, I went and cut off my hair. My family didn't understand it. I went to work on the Monday morning and everybody said, what a way you look ugly. I said, what a way you look ugly? What you do with your hair? You know? But that didn't deter me. And it was at the time with the Black Panthers, there was Snick with, you know, Stokely Carmichael, Kwame and Kwame Ture. It was Malcolm X time, you know. I wasn't too much into Martin Luther King. I have to admit that. Because that didn't really appeal to me. There was a sort of black militancy inside of me that needed more than this turn the other cheek business. Well, it really wasn't onto that. That's where it started. And then I had done some volunteer work. I was within the Garment Industry Union. I did some volunteer work for they asked for union people to do for the yellow cab people in New York. They didn't have a union. And they were forming a union and they need people to work volunteer. And for that they gave me a scholarship to Colonial University Extension to do black studies. And that was it. I went into the class, the only Jamaican and the only person that did not know about Marcus Garvey, other than just hearing the name. Mm-hmm. Other than just hearing the name. Even though I knew of Bag of Wire, and the only thing I knew was that, yeah, Bag of Wire catch a fire. And Bag of Wire sell out Marcus Garvey for, you know, 30 shilling or whatever, rice and peas, whatever. That was it. When I came back to Jamaica, when I had to return to the United States, I ended up in Brooklyn, among the most Afrocentric people that I had ever met in my life. Now that took me to a whole different level. A friend of mine said to me, you know, I want to take you to the African American Ballet. I said, ballet? You're not going to know ballet. And he said, no man, it's a different kind of something this. And when I went, and I heard the drumming and the dancing and all these people dressed up in African clothes and everybody so beautiful, it did something to me. And the first time I put on a piece of African fabric with all the colors, it was like my spirit just wake up, you know? And it was like, wow, this is what I've been missing, you know? Yeah. But that did a lot for me. And it also made me realize that in Jamaica, nothing really African was happening, in my opinion. You know, Rastafari was talking certain things, but that Africanness was only limited to a few people. Yes. So that's where I got that. I should also mention that my father was a seaman. And he used to go to, as he got, well, in his elder years, he had a choice of where he wanted to go on, which ships he wanted to go on. And he always chose to go to Africa. And if you go inside the house, you will see there is. He started bringing me back these artifacts. And he said to me, don't ever sell them because you can never get the value for them. And I've never sold them, no matter how I get broke. And I sell them. You know, you just figure that generation to generation, yeah, you have to pass these things down. So there is a lot of little contributing factors. I remember when I was maybe about 8, 9 years old, and there was this woman who came to visit my grandmother. And somewhere in the conversation, I heard that she lived in Africa and she was married to a chief. And I never forgot that. But of course, at that age, you can't ask the person's name. You can't ask nothing. But I never forgot that. Never forgot that.
Most Jamaicans who find success in America stay at least until they retire. Yet you came back at home when you would have made more money staying in the US. Why did you come back?
I went to America when I was like 17 years old. And I first was in Brooklyn, and then I was in Los Angeles, California. And there was something that was unfulfilled, like I wanted to do. And I really wanted to leave America. There was something that was not there for me. And I was fortunate enough to get a job with a multinational corporation that brought me to Jamaica. Jamaica was not my first choice, but they said, well, that's where you're from, and we need somebody there, so we'll send you there. When I got here now, you can imagine ending up in the tourism industry. Coming from all of this blackness and the people at the front desk, the people couldn't braid their hair. They couldn't, an afro, forget it. It was like shock. I think I really went into culture shock. At this time, our music was like, wow. And no, you have to host cocktail parties. Who, me? Host a cocktail party? No way. When you want to go and dance? Oh, and dance. I was a misfit. I was a total misfit in that setting, because working in the hotel industry in America, it's a job. You go there, in my position, you go there at 9 and you get off at 5 and you go about your business. In Jamaica, in certain positions in the tourism industry, and we call it the tourism industry, you are expected to be, part of that industry. So you have to talk a certain way and behave a certain way because you're representative of that industry. And you're not supposed to keep company with the line staff, like the gardeners and let me call them housemaids at that time. You weren't supposed to really keep company, but those are the people that needed love. Because they used to talk my language and they like the music what me like. So that was it. But as I say, I was fortunate enough. And when I came on a 2-year contract, and after a year and a half, I realized that if I was to go through with that, I was going to be physically sick. I couldn't manage it. It was just so painful to me to see black people who never catch a plane and twanging just because I'm in a one situation. And I said, I'm going back to America, but I'm not going back to live. I'm going back to get myself together to come back to Jamaica, because there is work here to be done. I never at any time felt that I was going to live in America, give America all of my youth, and when I reach 65 and I can barely walk anymore, I come home and talk about my retire. I don't see how that benefit the country. And since me did find fault with the situation, I felt that I should do something about it. And that's how I ended up here.
Well, let me hear you say mountain.